What's up, guys? Mindless again, back with another video for you. And this is a video that, strangely enough, but I understand why, considering how many different knives I've shown that fall under these opening mechanisms, has been requested a bunch from Instagram as well as my past YouTube videos. And the request is to give my opinion on which is better, the Kickstop flipping mechanism from Lee Williams or the spring-loaded tab, or SLT, from Gus Cecchini of GTC Knives. And to be honest with you, I was hesitant to do this because I really don't, this is just my opinion, guys. Personally, I don't look at them as comparable. I see them as created for different purposes, but I think with as many people have asked me to do it, I think I should. And again, please keep in mind this is just my opinion on it and how I feel about it from my personal experience with the knives. So today I grabbed 3 pieces that are spring-loaded tabs, and I picked out 3 pieces that are Kickstop mechanisms, and I tried to kind of vary it up a little bit in case you haven't seen it. This particular piece, the Horsepower, has its own video. This particular piece, the Stampede, has its own video. The Dragontail Hokkaido has its own video, and these 2 pieces do not have their own videos. So this, and this have not been seen before on the channel. I believe I had this piece when I did the Tom Mayo showcase. It was on there, and you can kind of take a look at it, but I never really just outlined it. This piece is a relatively new acquisition, and I figured it'd be a good time to break it out considering it's an SLT. And honestly, on the SLT side, you're going to see far fewer knives made with that technology, whereas Kickstops have been around a lot longer, and a lot more collaborations have occurred between more makers than just these that have worked in the Kickstop mechanism. So before we get going, let's just take a peek at the knives. I'll start on the SLT side. This is the Horsepower model from GTC Knives. Just a great piece for EDC, very small. There you can see the spring-loaded tab. Gorgeous, flips amazingly as you'd expect. Hand-rubbed satin, just a beautiful piece, beautiful piece. Not the fanciest Horsepower out there, but just a great all-around EDC, and I actually do carry this piece out in the world and use it. This is the Airborne. You guys have seen tons of videos about this piece. What makes this one special, it's a Mokutai inlay. It's rarely done. Usually Gus will use Timascus, but just a gorgeous, gorgeous piece. And honestly, I've owned probably 2 or 3 Airbornes. This is the one I'm decided to keep because the flipping action is even better. The spring doesn't squeak, has good positive resistance, and flies out really hard. So that is the Airborne model. And this is my most recent GTC acquisition. I think it's about 4 or 5 videos back. You can take a really good close look at it. Got this at the Gathering. This is the newest model. It's called the Stampede. And just an amazing, beautiful knife. Amazing action as well on it. Damascus bolster, Mokutai pivot collar. Great, great piece. On the Kickstop side, we'll start down here because you've seen it. This has appeared in several videos, and I've done a video just on it. This is the John Barker Lee Williams Dragontail Hokkaido. Probably one of my favorite knives of all time. Beautiful piece, and the action on this is just ridiculous. It's broken in, flips super hard. Great piece. Next up is the Tom Mayo Lee Williams collaboration. It's the Donk in 154. Amazing flipping action as expected. An absolutely beautiful piece. Gorgeous piece. This by far is my favorite Mayo because you get to carry a Tom Mayo that flips so hard, and it's awesome. Amazing piece. And a very large knife. And then I brought this one out because this is a very rare piece. I'm probably going to do a video just on this. This is Lee Williams, no collaboration, just his own design. This is the Iceman Xl. Very few of the XLs have been made, but it is a gigantic knife. I mean, the blade is almost 4.5 inches, beautiful recurve, hand rub, amazing attention to detail, anodizing on the inside, just absolute perfection. Absolute perfection, guys. That's all I could say. If you ever can get a Lee William piece that's not a collaboration, amazing. And the action, again, perfect on this piece. So those are the 3 and 3 that I've chosen to kind of discuss the differences, and let's get started. I mean, to me, the first and foremost is the reality that, in my opinion, again, this is just my opinion, in my opinion, these two mechanisms aren't made to compete against each other. The kickstop, to me, keeps the knife in a more tactical category. You can, without looking, without using your eyes, you can, remove this from your pocket. You feel the tab. It's got positive jimping, very good, and it just fires. You'll never misfire on a kickstop, period. That is a fact. And it flips extremely hard, no matter what the piece. I own a few more kickstop knives. I just chose these 3 because I couldn't fit them all in frame. But no matter what, they all flip very similarly. Very hard action, very, very fast deployment, and extremely smooth. I mean, to the point where you'll cut your finger off when it falls down. So, to me, this remains in the quick deployment. I mean, I probably would never use them as a defensive weapon, but if I was in a dark location and I just reach in my pocket, I know when I pull it out, I feel my finger on the tab and boom, it fires every time. And it's intentional. It remains a flipper. It's the traditional flipper feeling in your hand. After you've flipped a few hundred knives, a few thousand times, you know that feeling well. And it feels like a more traditional, conventional style flipper. When you come over to the SLTs, it's a whole different story. In my opinion, I think the SLT, and I had discussions about this at the gathering with some other collectors. In my opinion, the SLT is made for aesthetics. It's the ability to make almost an art knife. You can have a flipper without having a flipper tab protruding, and the flipper tab protruding on the open position. Yes, you do see a small piece sticking out, but that's because you need to be able to grab that tab. Now, flipping action is phenomenal. I'm not going to lie. It's absolutely excellent flipping. However, in my opinion, it doesn't deploy as quickly as a kickstop. And there's rumors about Gus being in Lee Williams' shop, and that's where he came up with this design after seeing the kickstop. And I don't know if that's true or not, so I really don't care. I think at the end of the day, Gus was thinking something completely different. He was thinking of a way to hide the flipper tab. It wasn't, whereas Lee was thinking, I need a way to make the flipper tab better and the knife deploy quicker and more accurately every time. I think Gus was doing it for aesthetics. He just did not want a flipper tab to be seen. I could be totally wrong. I haven't asked Gus about it, but this is me speaking as a collector, and I see the beauty in it. And like this knife particularly, if there was a giant flipper tab sticking out right here, it would detract from the beauty of the knife. But since it's an SLT, nice and smooth, but you get the flipping action of a regular flipper. Now, to talk specifically, on the SLTs, they're all very well done. Oh, there we go. They all have jimping. They're, easy to grab and deploy. But if you take a look, when you lift up to the deploy position, it's about a 45-degree angle. You can't really push in. You're really light switching it. You're pulling straight back. That was close, guys. Thank God the tripod is padded. You're pulling straight back and it deploys the knife. So if you're not a guy that likes to light switch knives, you may not like this method of deployment. And to speak frankly, there is something not as solid in the SLT as you find in the kickstop mechanism. It's solid enough, but you can feel the spring kind of stretching when you're pulling it back, and it creates, I mean, in honesty, time will tell if this starts to fail on me. I haven't had any fail on me, but it's just different. It's a where your finger gains purchase. It's this small, basically you're just grabbing the tip right here, and that's all you've got to hold on to. And you can kind of see it's like just that right there. That little piece is where it's going to fire. And it deploys every time, truthfully. It's a very good system. And there it is on the bottom. But compared to a Kickstop, you have full purchase. My finger rests wholly. The fingertip is completely on here, and you're just never going to misfire. It also lends itself to both push buttoning and light switching. You can just push straight in, and it's going to fire, or you can kind of grab it and come straight back, and it's going to fire. So, very different concept, a very different mechanism conceptually. Truth be told, personally, I prefer the Kickstop. I like flippers, and I think this Lee Williams design, Lee Williams invention, basically, of this Kickstop mechanism, to me, creates the best flippers out there. I've said it in past videos. When you actually handle a Kickstop piece, it kind of ruins you for life. You will never look at any flipper the same way. It creates, I mean, the action is so positive, so forceful as the blade flies out, that any other normal, traditional, I'll just call it traditional flipper, does not have the same, I don't know, it just doesn't have the same firing feeling. This just feels like the knife fires out, there's a little bit of recoil, and then nothing hanging out at the bottom. The flipper tab's right on top. It's just, in my opinion, the best flippers created come out of Lee Williams' shop. That's just my opinion, guys. I know a lot of people may disagree, but I had to take kind of a stand, and I want to be honest with you guys. And honest, truth be told, the Kickstop is the way to go. Actually, right now, I'm kind of in my collecting. I'm trying to gather as many Kickstops as I can, just so I can see if the Kickstop feeling or that mechanism translates across all the collaborations, and it does. It does. Every single piece, from the McGinnis Notorious, the Galloway, Mongoose, they all have that outstanding flipping action. Now on SLT side, I think there may be one more model that has the SLT, maybe the Owen Wood collaboration, but these are the three that do have the SLT, the spring-loaded tab, and we have them all sitting here. And if you just look at the knives, if you just look at the shape, the handles, this here is a more traditional style piece. These here are much more artistic in flair. The lines, the milling, the inlays, the use of Damascus, these are, to me, bridging the gap between tactical folders and art knives. And the ability to have a flipper in an art knife that doesn't disrupt or interrupt the flow of the design of the piece, it's so valuable, and Gus nailed it, I think. This is truly masterpiece, and the creation of the SLT is truly an amazing engineering feat. Think about it. This piece is spring-loaded, follows the tang all the way around, and the lock bar is locking behind. If you look closely, you can see the spring-loaded tab in the front, and you can see where the lock bar is engaging the tang right behind it. It seems simple, but to come up with that from nothing and create a system that works and can be applied to different shaped knives, truly, truly amazing. I give Gus a lot of credit and respect for that, because he's created something amazing that is kind of revolutionizing the knife game as much as the Kickstop from Lee Williams has. And I think different people will be attracted to different pieces, but I think if you're truly a flipper guy, you're all about flippers, you're going to always be drawn to the Kickstop just because it feels more traditional. If you take a look, some of the Kickstops are even placed in different locations. You can push them forward, have a smaller tab like Lee did here, or a larger one like the collaboration with John Barker. And the reality is, they flip exactly the same. Exactly the same. It's kind of amazing. On this piece, you're way up front, like way past the pivot, but the same jimping exists where you can get a full purchase. Like your whole fingertip rests on that. And again, you cannot misfire this knife. It is just amazing. I'll do a video specifically on this knife because the attention to detail is something that needs to be discussed. I mean, you can kind of see the blue anodizing on the inside of the holes, faded anodizing going into this cutout for your finger, and it's just the most comfortable feeling knife, especially for the size. It is a humongous knife. So anyway, yeah, at the end of the day, if you're a flipper guy, I think, and it's been my experience when people handle knives in my collection, and I speak with other collectors that are, in these level of knives, flipping action, Kickstop is the best. To have a non-traditional flipper in an art knife, SLT is the way to go. These are two different, I think there are two different reasons why they were created, and to make a comparison or say which one is better, honestly, I think it's not fair. It is, I mean, first of all, it's each person that handles these knives is going to have a different opinion, but you can't be denied that having no flipper tab at all on the SLT pieces lends itself to allowing the maker to have a lot more freedom with the design. When there's nothing protruding top or bottom, it creates a very, very streamlined, almost futuristic style knife. And that's what you get out of Gus. If you ask non-knifey people, what do you think of these knives? They always say, wow, these are like, they look like knives from the future or like out of a video game. And I agree. Gus is all about design, pushing the envelope of what's normal. All of his designs are so unique. It never can be argued that they've ever been copied from anybody. And that's what makes GTC knives so amazing and so collectible, is the knowledge that when you have something like this in your pocket, you are just not going to come across anything similar to it unless it's another GTC knife. The same can be said about the kickstops, but the kickstop is a mechanism that's being applied to other makers' designs. I mean, this is John Barker's Hokkaido. He designed this knife, and Lee Williams applied the kickstop mechanism to it, and it has created the best flipper out there. That's what I think. That's just my opinion. So again, guys, I hope you don't find it as a cop-out that I'm saying, one is better than the other, this creator made a better product than this one. I think they're just completely separate. I think this was made for an artistic reason, a design reason. This was made for action, consistency of action, and overall feel of a flipper. So they're just completely different. At the end of the day, I'm more drawn to kickstops because I really enjoy flipping knives. I like to be able to reach in my pocket, grab the piece, and know my finger immediately just rests, bam, it's right there, ready to deploy. To me, it's my personal preference. So I hope this didn't make it worse or confuse anybody. I wanted to share my opinion on it, and the video is kind of running long, so forgive me. But I wanted to share my thoughts on it, and I kind of wanted to hear your thoughts. If you have any thoughts about it, please comment below. I'd love to discuss it with you. I'm speaking from my own personal experience in owning these knives. These all belong to me, and each one has been flipped hundreds and hundreds of times. So I've come to these conclusions by actually handling the pieces. If you have any questions at all, fellas, please leave a comment below. I'll do my best to reply to each and every one. Again, I will be making a video specifically about this piece and this as well as this. These are the three that don't have their own videos, but they'll be upcoming, where you can take a really close look at the craftsmanship and the details of the knife. Again, thanks so much for spending a few minutes watching the videos today. If you have any questions, let me know. And please leave a thumbs up if you dug this video, and subscribe for more vids. I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy.